Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back, of course, to the Time Bomb channel, and I hope that all is good in your part of the world. Today we have something a little special on the channel, so cue drum roll, please. We've got a little bit of TUDOR action as we have the Black Bay 58, that's ref 79230R. It is the 41mm version, and can I just say at this point, as we proceed to unbox, that this box is a lot sexier than that green thing that you get from another brand we might talk about a little bit later on. So just while I'm doing this, I wanted to say, of course, that this one has been lent into the channel. So massive thanks to our subscriber for that. And I've got to say, yeah, straight up, be honest, this channel wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the generosity of the subscribers. So again, mahusive thanks to the loaner for our watch today. Let me just pop this box so I don't knock the camera flying. So the Time Bomb channel perhaps is a little late to the hype party on Black Bay Beach, but caveat that with the number of models that keep being released and bought out of release. Methinks it's not a closed design brief, so the Tudor party is kind of in the kitchen right now and not yet made it all the way through to the bedroom. Let me just zoom in there a little bit better. So yeah, as I say, that to me that box much nicer, both visually and tactile sense than the other than its green cousin. Just for refs, here's our Edson Barbosa reference here with our hang tags. That's enough of that. Let's get on to the watch. The first Black Bays then, if I'm not mistaken, check my memories working this Saturday morning. They were released in 2012, and the name Black Bay, probably better than calling it Baywatch. Also is fictitious, I believe, as it alludes to black water, but do please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong there. The 58s then were released in 2018, and the watch world kind of went weak at the end links. It's been a success story for them ever since, which probably explains the vast number of variations on offer, which in turn again I think reflects how popular these are. If you have any refs as to how many units Tudor have sold of the Black Bay, please do drop us a comment down below, because I couldn't find anything on that anywhere. Currently on the UK website, it shows 114 iterations of the Black Bay. Now that's a lot of variations on one model. You've got absolutely everything from 36mm versions, chronos, 39mm versions, GMTs, pro versions, 41mm versions, and there's even a 43mm, but I could only see that one in bronze. So to me, if you are in the market for one of these things, it could be a little bit of a tough call as to which one you're going to buy, because I think that most of us are going to like attributes from many of them, and that would make it even more complex. So probably pick the diameter that works best for your wrist and start whittling it down from there. This particular Barbosa then is from 2020. It's come to the channel, as you can see, used secondhand. But as I say, the owner has very generously, there's a speck of dust there which my OCD is picking up on. It's all right, let me just grab that. That's better. The owner, yeah, very kindly offered to pop this one onto the channel for sharing with you lovely people. Let me get the elephant in the room out of the way. As with all watch manufacturers, or most of them, Tudor watch owners are no strangers to QC issues. And there are heaps of horror stories out there and some quite funny photos of things like the paint coming off the crowns, the dials themselves detaching and sliding around, etc. And if that's happened to you, I'm really sorry, because yeah, I think you've got an absolute right to be pissed. But let's have a look at what do we get with our watch here today. You take it out of the box and it just jumps at you as the whole package. Its heritage, its design. It's got that awkward Rolex thing, kind of like cousins sleeping together. And the general feedback on these though is that they are pretty robust. the price point hasn't put people off in any way. They're way cheaper than Rolexes and Omegas, and I think that probably bites off, you know, a sizable chunk of the watch buying demographic. In hand, I think it just looks really, really, really good. On this leather, you do feel the weight of the head, but I think I'll comment on the strap a little bit later on. I think on a steel or anything else, I think they might sit better. To me, okay, well, I might as well just talk about it while I'm talking about it now. To me, the way that the leather strap here engages with the case body means that it's sitting at the extremities of those lugs, and as a consequence, I think that just adds to that slightly top-heavy flop. And as you can see, there's a huge gap in between there, whereas if it sat much flusher to that case body, I think it would prevent that. If you don't like snowflake hands, well, you could be up against it. But I think even detractors, you know, will struggle to deny the fact that those snowflake hands are ultra legible. Squeezing a little bit closer here. And one thing that I do like about the hands is the length. I mean, they hit my absolute sweet spot there. The seconds hand just tricks perfectly around that minute track. The minute hand then, I mean, again, super positive indication on which minute marker it's at, whereas the hour hand, perhaps, you know, a slightly more abrupt meeting there with the markers. Talking about the markers, I mean, if dots and dash hour markers, you know, again, aren't your thing, I think, you know, again, they're very functional. Again, very easy to tell the time, and they're also, of course, those direct hand-me-downs from the first Tudors. Again, so if you're not a fan of dots and dashes, again, you might need to get over that. The only criticism, I suppose, I would have on the hands of these, and that would be that if that little lollipop on the seconds hand could have been a different colour. Maybe even the red to match the bezel. I think it would have just stood out just a fraction more over the hands and the markers, which are uniform. But again, that's just personal choice, and I'm probably people sitting me like going, "Hey, what are you talking about, man? It's perfect." All right, apologies for that. One of the other things that I particularly like about this design is that it doesn't have a date window, and I like that because there's a lot of script at the bottom here, and if they pop the date window in, of course, that would have reduced the symmetry of the dial and the uniformity and the general cleanliness of the dial. I think as well, yeah, it's just I think the right decision. The loom, yes, the loom is very good. It's very clean, and it looks like it's been applied in very even dollops, and pops well in the dark. Here it is up against wrist check. So I'm wearing the Helm Vanuatu with the modded, or their modded stainless steel bezel. So just put the helm next to the Tudor there in the dark, so that you can see how clear it is. I've lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? So yeah, you can just as well see some of the distortions off the sapphire there. It sits up quite proudly, sort of scalloped up to the center there, provides some nice distortion and light movement. So yeah, it pops up there again, crystal excellent. The aluminium bezel insert at the top, again, I think very clear and easy to read. I did read a comment somewhere suggesting that the color on these would fade over time. If that's happened to you, again, please do drop us a comment down below. Again, heads up warning, you do have at the top here the raised nipple pip, so certainly watch out when it's cold and that thing goes rigid, that you don't knock it off. The coin edge, as you can see here, is not ultra knurly. It's more finesse than knurliness, and it's probably more retro finesse than it is modern tool knurliness. And again, it's paying probably, again, very accurate homage to the original bezels and the knurlings. But okay, it's a reference. It's something to consider, because if you're using this in the wet, should you do that, and you're wearing gloves, etc., it's as I say, there's not a massive amount of grip. However, the upside of wearing it on this leather is that because there's a huge amount of gap there between the lugs. You've got lots of purchase area to start popping that 60 thing or 60 clicker around. And it sounds, yes, pretty sweet. Let's just do that again. Yeah, very, very nice. Very, very nice action. It's stiff. There's maybe a quarter of a millimeter play in that. No, but it sits up there. No, it's not. So it might have just been caught between. The other thing to reference, as I say, about that bezel that I wanted to identify is that it sits very close and very low down onto the case body. So again, your sort of purchase area around the sides is a little bit limited. So yeah, it's going to be a 12 and 6 best position for your finger and thumb to grab hold of there. I think, yeah, that bezel is going to be just a godsend to to you fidget spinners out there. On to the back we go. So case back is kind of a non-event, really. I don't know. They could have stuck something on there, couldn't they? I know, cut out of a foxy mermaid or something. I don't know. It just, yeah, it's just a little bit dull in comparison. But then again, many people will say, well, what's the point in having anything on the back there because you never look at it? Well, sorry, I do. Again, while I'm wearing the helm here, let me just show you what I'm talking about. Those of you familiar with helm will already know this. Stunning, absolutely stunning case back there. You know, brilliant design, and I like looking at it as a consequence. This one, yeah. So the original owner has left a sticker on there. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's, you know, it's fit for purpose, but it doesn't sort of have any design cues or animal magnetism. Notice as well, you've got the red pop on the screw down crown. Now, ordinarily that's to remind you that it's not screwed in, but yeah, actually, no, it isn't. So again, just assuming retro cues here, just to sort of, you know, add an additional pop of color. The sign crown, again, lovely, lovely, lovely action. It's quite heavy, well, affirmative in that sense. It's not swimming about in any way, shape or form, and it re-engages absolutely perfectly. There are no crown guards, of course, on there, and because it's raised out with that slight color shoulder, it almost looks like the crown almost looks like it's going to get caught on something just when you don't want it to. Whether some subtle crown guards or a little bit of scalloping here with some steel may have changed that, I don't know. But again, I've only had this for a day or two, not had much chance to wear it. So again, if you've got experience of catching that crown, or you find that it just, you know, it's a breeze wearing it, please do drop us some comments down below. I've been touching this, so let me just give them a quick wipe there. The case, the flanks of the case, I mean, they're pretty ordinary. They curve around, but I mean, there aren't really any sexy twists or, you know, spicy details to note on the flanks of either side. I mean, they're pretty utilitarian. As I say, you know, there's not a huge amount of design focus in there. You know, a little bit of a shoulder edge there, but again, not much onto that case body. The other thing that I'm thinking, that looking at this case body, is that it's not, you know, it's not protected or that's kind of the wrong word. I'm just going to say that it's blocky or flat. So I think that, you know, you're probably going to end up dinging that up quite easily, because it's, as I say, it's quite a big slab of steel on the side there. Again, maybe that's the same aspect over here. But again, in order to feedback directly on that, I think you're going to need to wear this for quite some time to find that out. Just while we've got a little profile there, you can see that it's quite a thick lump of steel. It's just around 15 millimeters, and I think, you know, that's quite a big piece of steel, and maybe that's why they brought out the 39s, just to keep all of the punters happy. However, most people and most reviews that I've seen and talked to people who own these things say how comfortable these things are on wrist. Let me just throw it on wrist to show you here. Maybe I can start talking about the leather strap here as well. So on wrist, my wrist is 7¼ inch. I think it sits very, very well. It's quite long. So again, that I think accentuates the issue that I'm going to explain with the, I was touching on with the leather here. I just think that this particular leather from Tudor is the wrong choice. Let me just pop it off wrist and I'll show you again why I'm having an issue with it. Probably because I don't really see the added value of having a leather deployant strap. I mean, the finishing here, I mean, it's fantastic, and lovely, lovely shapes, really, really nice. But of course, when you're faffing around with these things, okay, so what ends up happening is that this, I find, after a long time of use, becomes incredibly wrinkled, and that's where it starts to fray and detach, and you end up then having to buy yourself a new strap. In addition to which, I'm finding on this one that one hole is too big and the other hole is too small, so you probably end up having to throw a hole in between to get that perfect fit. I mean, obviously no micro adjusts on this, and I don't see, as I say, the added value of having this on a deployant. I mean, what's wrong with just having a nice buckle on the bottom there? I think it's just a slightly unnecessary complication. You have that on a rubber, which has more adjustment options on it, and I think, yeah, brilliant, it makes perfect sense. But I'm just not sure that this leather with the weight of the head either is really the best combination. Looking at people's photos again online, you can see these things are absolute strap monsters. People have them on all sorts of straps, and they all look good. So yeah, I just think that leather needs to sit slightly closer to the body there. But again, if you've got experience of that, drop us some comments, please. Buzzing away inside is the 5602 movement. It looks a little bit like this, and whilst I've not seen one of these watches with the case back off, from the images of that, it looks almost worthy of a see-through case back. There's a nice combination of brushing and wheeling, and more importantly, it provides a very, very usable up to 70 hours worth of power reserve. Again, please just drop us a comment down below if that's accurate or not. Overall, I think the colorway here, which we've got with that red and the gilt, it's a very pleasing vintage warmness. Personally, it's not my favorite colorway. As I say, it almost looks a little papal to me. But for the winner for me is the steel on steel. I think that's just absolutely, it smashes it out of the park. I wonder if the other reason that these are also so popular might be down to the price quality ratio point, sitting somewhere for those who can't afford the Rolexes and the Omegas. And yet it's a significant step up from your Seiko limited editions. It would be hard as well, I think, to deny the impact of the Black Bays on the watch world, despite, as I say, many people having some issues with them. And remember, of course, that Pagani design would be absolutely lost without the Black Bay. All right, guys, probably a wrap for today. I've been talking at you for nearly 20 minutes. Again, massive thanks to the subscriber for the share on this one. I mean, really brilliant watch. Lots and lots and lots to like about it. And I hope there's lots and lots of comments as well. Listen to you guys. If you, from your experience of owning these things to date, what's your view? Thanks as always for your time and for your view. And of course, until the next vid, this is the Bombardier signing off. Cheers, guys.